I'm sick to my stomach. The West Virginia Mountaineers left out of the NCAA tournament. Absolutely screwed.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, guys, if you go check out FanDuel, you can get $200 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins, but you have to go to FanDuel.com to get started now. I wasn't expecting this. As the bracket started to be laid out and things started happening, as soon as Vanderbilt got in, I knew we were in trouble. When North Carolina got in, I knew for sure we were out. Like I was telling everybody, like once those two happened, there was no margin for error, and we never get the benefit of the doubt, right? So I knew that was going to be the case. That's why I'm able to do this so quick. I went ahead and changed everything. I had a whole different. I made my thumbnail hours ago. West Virginia's going dancing, with Darren DeVries jumping up and down in the air. I was all excited about that. And in reality, West Virginia is in the first four out. According to Nicole Auerbach, she just posted, West Virginia was one of the first four out with Indiana and a couple other teams. I have to go back and look. So obviously West Virginia won 6 quad 1 games, didn't have a bad loss on the resume, although you could argue Colorado was a bad loss. Certainly the TCU game was a bad loss. And I said it all year long. The most important thing you can be doing come March Madness or come March is playing well. And West Virginia was not doing that. They were not playing well towards the end of the year, not by the standards that were set in the beginning of the year, right? West Virginia was playing poorly comparatively to the first 17 games. We know that. Once the teams figured out Javon Small, it was tough sledding from there. So I still think West Virginia deserved to get in based off of merit, but certainly I can see how the committee justified this by looking at them and saying, look, if you like, let's just pull up the schedule really quick. Very frustrating, guys. Very frustrating, I know. Okay, so in West Virginia's last, let's look before Iowa State and after Iowa State, because I feel like that was a turning point in the season. What I considered the flu game or whatever happened there when everybody got sick. And then we had Arizona State right after that. It was just a bunch of weirdness all in a row happening. So West Virginia beats number 12 Iowa State a week after losing to Houston, but everybody loses to Houston. Previous to that, West Virginia had beaten obviously some pretty good teams, right? You go in the tournament, you beat Gonzaga, you beat Arizona, you lose to Louisville in overtime, who won 27 games. You beat Georgetown, you beat NC Central, and a lot of these teams didn't help. Our non-conference wasn't great outside of the three in the tournament, Gonzaga, Arizona, Louisville. But then you've got Georgetown, NC Central, BCU, Mercyhurst, right? You even had UMass in there. None of these teams ended up being good, including Pitt, which was a really bad loss when you look at it. So breaking it down, though, you do get the Kansas win, which is a big win, obviously. You beat Oklahoma State. You beat Arizona a couple weeks prior, but then Arizona comes back and whops you by 20. You beat Colorado, but then you lose to Houston. But then you beat Iowa State. Then you lose to Arizona State. Then you lose to Kansas State. And after that Iowa State game, things really started to fall off. You go from beating Iowa State to losing to Arizona State, losing to Kansas State, losing to Houston, losing to TCU, barely sliding by Utah, losing to BYU twice, losing to Baylor. You barely beat Cincinnati. You get smacked by Texas Tech. You beat TCU, UCF, and Utah on the back end of your schedule here. So sure, the entirety of West Virginia's schedule is pretty good. 6 quad 1 wins. But when you really look at it, we were playing like shit at the end of the year. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what the committee looked at. And you look at Arkansas, you looked at other teams that maybe were playing just a little bit better than West Virginia heading into this. No, I get it. That's not what it should be, right? It should be the merit. What did you do over the course of a season, regardless of how you were playing towards the end? But that's just not reality. That's not what happened here. First of all, you were just, unfortunately, you weren't up against, in this situation, let's say you weren't up against Mississippi State and you weren't up against even Texas A&M in basketball. You were up against Texas, North Carolina, Indiana. Like, they had to, I truly believe that those internal biases happen in these situations. And very usually, unless we're just like cut above, we're not going to win those battles head to head a lot of times, because I believe in these internal biases that people have. We had 19 wins. We did just enough to put us there on the bubble. So don't put yourself in the situation to be on the bubble. Beat Colorado, right? Don't have the worst game of your life in Monty Hansberry against Colorado. I do feel like we got robbed. But if you really look at it and be honest with yourself about the totality of that schedule, the way we played the first 17 games against the way we played the last dozen and a half games or whatever, it wasn't the same. And the momentum wasn't there. And your best wins were Utah and TCU on the back half. There wasn't a BYU win on the back half. There wasn't. There was Utah, right? So it's just a total flip, and we weren't playing well going into the last of the season. It's very frustrating, man. I wanted to cover this. I haven't been able to cover us in the NCAA tournament since I started doing this. It's really freaking frustrating, man. It really is. And to say that I don't understand how you can put Xavier and North Carolina in over West Virginia. Like, those are the ones that frustrate me. 1-12 in the quad game. I guess, you know what, next year maybe quads don't actually matter. What are we supposed to like? You know, they switch it up. They move the goalposts all the time. We never know exactly what criteria they're using. This year, it was non-conference schedule. That's what they're saying right now. Non-conference schedule matters, guys. Not quad one wins. Not the conference. We don't have the Big 12. It's not as respected as it was the last few years now. Now it's the SEC puking 13 teams into the tournament. Get out of here with that bull crap. It's ridiculous, man. And I'll be honest, too. I really believed West Virginia would have had a chance at a great run here. I think the way we play with Javon Small, guards win big. It's proven over the years. Guards win big in March. Guards are tough to guard in March. Teams would have had very little time to prepare for Javon Small and company. And I think our defense would have carried us, and I think we could have won a couple games, but we're not going to get to see it. And what a weird year this could turn out to be if it ends as poorly as it looks like it could end here. Because for whatever, for better, for worse, the news ain't done here, man. It's not. It's just not. Like, we're going to have more stuff to talk about. It's just not going to be what we want to talk about. I don't want to talk about West Virginia missing the tournament. I don't want to talk about who's going to stay and who's going to go. I don't want to talk about Darren DeVries at Iowa. I don't want to talk about who to replace him with. I don't. I want to talk about us in the tournament. And that's not going to happen. We got robbed, and I feel bad for Javon Small, especially because of all the players on this team, he never played in an NCAA tournament game, and now he doesn't get to. Let's go to break. On the other end, guys, we will address the elephant in the room. I guess that probably no wonder it didn't sound great. It was turned the wrong direction. We'll address the elephant in the room on the other side of the break, obviously, talking about Darren DeVries in Iowa. We need to talk about it. Let's go talk about it next. I'm not even hitting the right buttons. I'm so frustrated. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Factor Meals. Eating healthy doesn't have to be complicated, because with Factor, you get chef-made, dietitian-approved, meals that are ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, so you can fuel your body without the hassle of cooking. Factor meals arrive fresh, never frozen, with 40 options across dietary preferences each week. You can customize your menu to fit your dietary goals, which can be calorie smart, protein plus, or keto. Convenience meets nutrition with Factor, and I love how they help you keep track with healthy, delicious meals without the time-consuming prep, the chop, 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 chop. Eat smart with Factor. Get smart at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast and use code Factor Podcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code Factor Podcast at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast to get 50% off plus free shipping. And of course, we have to talk about our friends over at Supply House. You get the supplies you need from the site made from the skilled trades. That's Supply House. Whether you're plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, Supply House has a reliable way to order products online for you. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 top brands, you'll be able to find exactly what you need and delivered fast, even from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House helps offer support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge or a hard edge, as Rich Rod would say, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code S-H-5 for 5% off your first order. Do it now. Do it today. Do it at supplyhouse.com. It's segment 2. We don't deserve the dew. We don't deserve it. But I got to have a drink of dew because my mouth does get dry, as you guys know. I didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve it. Nope, didn't deserve it. Just like we didn't deserve to get into the tournament. We have a pissed Coos in the comments. Oh, man. Welcome in. For those you listen on podcasts, I just read some comments from there. Sometimes I peek over and the Coos from Coos' Corner made a funny one. Sometimes I need a little bit of humor in moments like this because, and I guess I could change the background. Good Lord, guys. I'm so sorry. I was so frustrated getting on here. I guess it didn't change over. My apologies. So the second topic here says Darren DeVries in Iowa. Obviously, I'll probably catch him flack for talking about this because, but here's where I'm at with this because, I've been keeping in contact with my Iowa people, obviously, and I've been keeping in contact with people on the beat over there, and they feel like they have a really good shot here. And I just got some intel right before we came on that certain people in the family there are driving this train to Iowa, back home for DeVries. They feel like he didn't get enough support this offseason in NIL, even though it was his first year. So I think some things are going to happen here. If he's going to stay, I really believe West Virginia is going to have to overcommit. And I'm not saying he's not worth it. I know there's a lot of people that are overreacting to the Colorado loss. There's a lot of people that some people are even out on DeVries. I'm nowhere near that. I'm nowhere close to that. I'm actually all in on him. And with the class we have coming in, along with some of the players we have returning, including Tucker, I just watched the Arizona film again today where he made 8 threes. If we can get a dynamic guard like Javon Small again next year, and we can do it, and if you can bring in the freshmen we have coming in, and we got them, and can they develop them? Yes, they can. I believe that too. And you can add to this team. I believe they've got a team that can make a deep run next year. I do believe that. But can we get them to the table long enough to see that, to do that, to feel that, to want that? I don't know. But what I do know is that I was courting him, and that's home for him. Just like Bob Huggins at Kansas State. They went to the Final Four, or Elite Eight, I'm sorry, Elite Eight the year before he came to West Virginia, right? Or maybe it was 2 years before, but they were doing well as a program with him. And he came to West Virginia because home is home at the end of the day. Now, Darren DeVries didn't go to Iowa, but he did win a state championship in Appleton, which is far from Iowa. And his brother Jared is royalty. I've said this multiple times. I've had him on the show. Royalty at Iowa. All-time sacks leader. You don't think he has pull with the donors? People behind the scenes, you don't think he can get donors on board for Darren DeVries? I'm telling you guys, I really personally feel like it's going to be hard to keep him. There's something I don't know. I don't know at all. But what I do know is I know the DeVries brothers. I've met them both. I've spoken to them both. I speak to them all the time. It's been a while since I've spoken to Jared, but I've spoke to others within them. And let me just say, 3-4 months ago, I was under the impression that if this job came open, he wouldn't go. I don't have that impression anymore. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to go or not. I really don't. But I think it's going to be hard to keep him. That's what my gut says until more comes out. And here's the thing. If he doesn't pledge his allegiance to West Virginia in the next 24 to 48 hours, get worried. Because why wouldn't you? There's no other reason to do it, not to do it, right? Like if you're going to stay at West Virginia, you need to say it out loud and proud. Just get it's out there. Might as well address it, whether that's Ren Baker, whether that's Darren DeVries, or whatever. Because if you let this linger, it's going to take on a life of its own. It's going to be every day. I'm going to be thinking about this. I'm probably going to be talking about it. Other people as well. There are plenty of articles out. Every local West Virginia media guy has put out something on it now. Every local Iowa guy has put something out on it now. And we got to have an answer. These kids deserve it. We need to know which direction this is going quick. And now that West Virginia is not in the tournament, all's fair in love and war, right? Darren DeVries to Iowa could happen quick now. This is exactly what our worst nightmare looks like if you're a Darren DeVries fan. So I think I don't know what's going to happen. I just think that pay close attention to this show and other shows for the next 24 to 48 hours, especially, and over the next week. Maybe we don't hear anything. Maybe it's all quiet. And sometimes no news is good news. In this situation, I don't feel compelled to feel that way. I feel the opposite. It's the antithesis, actually, of no news is good news. I need news. I need something. And the kids deserve it. You know, like if the portal is going to open for us, just like it did Iowa, then open it. Might as well just go ahead and open it. Certainly there are other candidates available for that job. I mean, you look at McCollum, he seems to maybe have his choice between Iowa and Indiana right now. Saw an article about that earlier. The best possible scenario for us would probably be McCollum to Iowa. I don't know if that's going to happen. I do know that he's definitely their top two. Every Iowa person I talk to says they want to swing at DeVries first because of the name. Obviously, that name, you got to think about this. That name back at that university, the all-time sacks leader is a DeVries. So if that name's back there, the donors start to come back too. And so that's why I say West Virginia's got to come strong here with something. I don't know what you do. I don't know how, I don't know if people are out on him or if they believe in him. But I don't want to have to go through another one of these. I mean, we've gone from Huggins to Eilert to DeVries, now to this. Like, come on. It's like, we've gone from Plitzowite to Kellogg. Could Kellogg be quartered after this season as well? Like, that's about to happen in an hour. The women's bracket. Like, are we going to have to court another coach for that side of the ball or for that side of the university? Women's too? It gets to a point to where it's like, we're tired of being stepping stones. Can somebody just be here and stay? So I would love to have news on DeVries and the commitment, because I think our university needs it in light of this bad news. I think our fan base definitely needs it in light of this bad news. And I think the players deserve it, right? As quickly as you can get it to them. So that's where I'm at with this. Frustrating day to say the least. Did not expect it to be this when we all started out here today. If you could do me a favor, like the video, subscribe if you're new around here, hit that like button. I know it's not a subject you like, but if you could help the show out and just hit that like button, it would mean a lot to me. Subscribe, like I said, share the video out if you can. It would make, that also helps. And let's go to break really quick. On the other side of the break, I'll reiterate something we talked about earlier. We'll end this on the good note. I had the spring standouts from in football. I wrote them down earlier. I did a show earlier with the spring standouts. I'll go over that too at the end of the show. Talk about some players on the football field that have really stood out for Rich Rod this offseason. Something to go on a kind of a good note with. We'll be right back. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is also going to be brought to you by FanDuel, guys. You know what? I would have definitely lost FanDuel on this one. I'd have West Virginia solidly in. March Madness is here. Screw you, March Madness. And FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and every who's cutting down the nets. Staying in the action with the tournament games happening almost every day, well, there's always going to be something exciting to bet on. And the FanDuel app is simply easy to use. And when I win, I get paid instantly. You don't have to wait around for your money. So today, please go to FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action and make sure you do it all tournament long. All right, guys. I'm ready to move on from this. You know what's funny is I had written down a couple teams that I thought we were going to be matched up against. I had St. Mary's written down. I had Illinois written down. I had Memphis written down, a couple, and I'd done some research on them, and I probably wasted 2 hours on teams that I just thought, I might as well put the work in that way just in case. What a waste of a couple hours that was, I mean, I guess it's not necessarily a waste if I want to bet on the games, but I'm not really a big bettor, so I don't know. Let me see if I can find this list really quick again. I did it. Yeah, here we go. I got it. One quick thought on this really quick. I know you guys are all here because of basketball, and I understand if you don't want to stick around for this third segment. But I feel like it's important we go out on a good note for the weekend here because I don't know what's going to happen ahead of us. It could be really negative over the next week with the DeVries situation, guys. It could move quick. I really do believe it could move quickly. There's nothing holding him here now, so outside of a buyout, and that's easily done. So make sure you come back here as often as you want, as often as you like. We're on podcast. We're obviously here on YouTube. I'm on X at Paul Mountaineer. I give my takes there. So definitely come back if you guys want to know anything about that DeVries situation. And like I said, I have people involved very close to that situation. You guys have seen them on this show. If you've been on here long enough, I've had both DeVries brothers. I've had Tucker on the show. So, I know people close to that situation. I'm not saying they're my best friends, but I certainly do speak to people on occasion. So not saying they're going to give up any information on this one, but we're going to try. So I did this list a little earlier, but I want to go back over it just for good feelings, guys. Spring football. There were some guys that really stood out in pads on Friday, I think it was. And, I got my guys in the locker room that, I asked, 6 or 7 different guys who they thought were standing out. And these are the guys, all these guys came up more than once. So take that information and do with it what you will. But these are the guys that have stood out during the spring. I'm sorry, 1 or 2 of these guys, and I'll tell you when we get to them, only stood out just on the specific day. We'll talk about here in a second. Jalen Henderson and Nico Marchiol continue to be a cut above. From what I'm told, it's really not close to third yet, Or, it's like Wilkins, it's Max. Really don't know who the third guy is yet, but Jalen and Nico have done a great job of separating at the top, which is not surprising. Justin Harrington is a guy that I talked about earlier. And like I said, I did do this list earlier. He made a pick in the game. They had full pads the other day. He is the transfer from Oklahoma, started on the Oklahoma defense in 2023, went to Washington after he hurt his knee and didn't really get recovered in time to really be an impact player for them. So now he's here and he's reunited with Zach Alley. I think they crossed paths. Maybe they didn't. I think he might have left right before he got there, actually. But anyway, he's a big freak athlete, a big hybrid safety that I think is going to make an impact for us. He had a pick and some other big plays in the scrimmage. Gerard Bowie destroyed William Davis in a couple plays, who was the transfer from Virginia Union, that has a lot of numbers. If you've ever looked up his stuff, Gerard Bowie looking really good, wearing number 25, just crucifying people on routes. I'm told he's really gotten his route running together. And look, we want to root for Gerard. He's a West Virginia kid. Nick Gabriel, number 69, the defensive tackle, who was a freshman last year that really came on strong towards the end of the year, continuing to do so. I'm told he looked really good at times in the scrimmage, or whatever they want to call that. I don't know if it's practice and pads or scrimmage or what, but they practice in full pads, So Nate looked really good, eating up Dior Hubbard and other guys a few different times. Greg Ginross made some big catches on Michael Coach Jr., I'm told. And he's really starting to come on as a pass catcher. He's a big dude, 6'6", 6'7", 250 pounds, runs like a deer, and could truly be an impact player for us at the tight end spot. I don't know about his blocking ability yet, but yeah, he definitely did some stuff on Michael Coach Jr., I'm told, who I think is number 5. Derek Carter Jr. had an interception. They said he had a great practice. Haven't heard a ton from him. And then Cam Vaughn. Apparently he and the quarterbacks look really good. Cam Vaughn has been shredding people throughout the spring. I got a name on the number 2 on the back here as well. I forgot about. So, but yeah, Cam Vaughn, obviously, and we need him to be number 1, right? I mean, we do. Man Singleton looks electric in the open field, I'm told. Punt return, kick return, he'll probably be involved in all that. Maybe now that Preston is back, maybe he gets bumped from punt return. Not sure yet. But certainly Man Singleton, if you ever watch any of his stuff at Eastern Michigan, has been really good. So that's going to be fun to see. And then Xavier Bosley. Xavier Bosley continues to look good on the offensive line. I heard Kimo Macaniole's name too a couple times. That he's looked good at times. So we got some guys playing pretty well overall. I think we don't have everybody we're going to have. Obviously, Will Reed still got to come. We've got other guys coming in that won't be till the summer. So we don't have all the answers on the paper to the quiz yet. But I think, hey, it's fine. We're going to be okay. I mean, nobody's expecting us to win the Natty in year 1. But, yeah, so that's unfortunately where it's at. To those of you here joining late, I see a few people in the chat. Yes, we did get left out of the tournament. We were snubbed. It's very unfortunate, which means that not only are we on Portal Watch, we're on, which, I mean, the portal's not open yet, but worried about, obviously, the elephant in the room. We're talking about Darren DeVries, and the possibility of losing him to Iowa is very real. And would love to see some kind of resolution quick. Would love to see him say, hey, I'm not going anywhere, or, we'll find out. I'd say within the next week, we'll know what's happening here. So that's all I got, guys. I thank you guys for joining. We got almost 1,000 in here. That's pretty good for this time of year. I would ask that you guys keep coming back. I know it's frustrating, but there's going to be something good come out of this. Whoever wants to be at West Virginia is going to be at West Virginia at the end of the day. And if Darren DeVries and his family don't feel like it's for them, we don't want to hold them hostage, right? If they decide to stay, totally great, want them to be here. But if they want to go, then they were always going to go, and they were just a 1-year stopgap. And we'll just give the next guy the keys. Nico Medved. There's guys out there I know that want to be here. Nico Medved's in the tournament right now with Colorado State, and they're playing damn well. So there are other guys out there. Ben McCollum, I love what he did. I loved him. That's Ren gave him his first job, and he won several national championships. There's guys out there that I would be okay with in this job. And there are people still, if you won't believe this, guys, but there are really still people holding on to Bob Huggins coming back. There really, truly are. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but there really are people that really think Bob Huggins can come back and coach this team at 73 or 4 years of age, or whatever he is now. And while I would love to see it happen in theory, if you could ask me to write a story, it would be, okay, West Virginia comes back and they win the national championship. Sure. But that's like totally out of reality, not going to happen. I think he's way past his prime. So it's unfortunate, the way things happened. I think if he could have coached the team the year we had the number one class, then maybe we could have done something there, but we'll never know. Love you guys. Thanks for joining. Like I said, it's a frustrating day. It's a frustrating time, but that's okay. We're going to be all right. We always get back up. We'll get back up next year. We got a great class coming in. We'll see if DeVries stays. If he does, we know what to work towards, and that's all we can do is support these guys. So we'll just take it out we'll boycott the tournament or something. I don't know. All right, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We record 7 days a week here, literally 7 days a week here every single day. We'll record about something. We'll talk about something. There's usually some kind of inside info going on. So keep coming back, please. And I will see you guys when the next one happens, probably tomorrow. I'm out.